There comes a time in life when you must understand that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every conflict requires your words. Not every relationship demands an explanation. There are moments when the greatest strength you can display is found in silence. You see, when people show you who they truly are, believe them. Don't wrestle with trying to convince them of your worth. Don't exhaust yourself by trying to change their perspective or their treatment of you. God didn't place you on this earth to justify your value to anyone. Your identity is already secured in Him. Silence is not weakness. In fact, it's one of the most powerful tools you have. It sends a message without uttering a single word. When you walk away quietly, you're declaring that your peace is more important than their opinion. You're choosing to protect what God has given you, the gift of a sound mind, the treasure of inner peace, and the strength to stand on your own. When Jesus was falsely accused, when He was spat upon and ridiculed, He didn't argue. He didn't defend Himself in front of His accusers. Why? Because He knew His purpose. He knew the truth, and He trusted His Father. Sometimes the best thing you can do is trust God to fight your battles while you walk away with your dignity intact. Leaving them silently doesn't mean you're avoiding conflict or running away. It means you're rising above it. It means you understand that not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Not everyone has earned the right to know the depths of your heart or to be part of your journey. And that's okay. Remember, some people were never meant to go where God is taking you. Some relationships are seasonal. Some connections were never intended to last forever. And if you try to hold on to what God is telling you to let go of, you'll miss the greater things He has in store for you. So don't waste time explaining yourself. Don't engage in unnecessary arguments. Walk away with grace. Trust that God sees your heart and He will reward your quiet strength. Let them talk, let them wonder, but keep your peace. Silence in its purest form is a powerful weapon. It's not the absence of strength, but the presence of it. Many people think that power is in words, in argument, in trying to defend themselves. But true strength comes when you can walk away, say nothing, and let your silence speak for you. It takes great discipline to stay quiet in the face of misunderstanding, accusation, or disrespect. The world teaches us that we must always respond, always have the last word, always make our point heard. But God's wisdom teaches us something different. When you choose silence, you're saying, I know who I am, and I don't need to explain myself to anyone. You're confident in your identity, and you trust that your silence will speak louder than anything you could say. You're not concerned about proving your worth because you know it's already established in God. Silence in these moments shows not only strength but maturity. You're no longer reacting out of emotion or ego, you're responding with wisdom and faith. You've learned that not every battle is meant for you to fight, and not every offense needs a response. This kind of silence speaks volumes. It shows that you are not controlled by circumstances or by people's opinions of you. It's a strength that comes from knowing that God is your vindicator. He sees what others may not see, and He will reward you for holding your peace. In this quietness, you find power, not in what you say, but in what you don't. True strength is often silent. When you understand your worth in God, you no longer seek validation from others. Your value is not determined by what people think of you or how they treat you. It's not dependent on their recognition, approval, or acceptance. Your identity is rooted in something far greater, God Himself. He created you. He knows you intimately, and He has already declared your worth through His love and purpose for your life. You don't need to argue with people who don't see your value. You don't need to convince them of who you are. That's a burden you were never meant to carry. The moment you start trying to prove yourself to others, you've already given them too much power over your life. Instead, let your confidence be anchored in the truth that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are a child of God, and that alone defines your worth. When you leave them silently, you're saying, I know who I am in Christ, and I don't need your validation to feel complete. You're not swayed by their opinions because you trust that God's opinion is the one that truly matters. He has called you His own, and that's enough. Whether people recognize it or not, whether they appreciate you or not, your value remains unshaken because it's established in something eternal. This kind of understanding frees you from the need to fight for acknowledgement. You no longer feel compelled to defend your worth to those who refuse to see it. Instead, you walk away quietly, knowing that God's approval is all you need. You are confident that His love for you is unconditional and unchanging. When you choose to leave quietly, you are allowing your actions to speak louder than any words could ever convey. There is immense power in walking away with dignity, without feeling the need to explain yourself or justify your decisions. In moments of conflict, disagreement, or when faced with people who fail to see your worth, it can be tempting to engage in arguments or debates, hoping to change their minds. But sometimes the most profound message you can send is delivered through your silence. By leaving them silently, you are making a statement that transcends words. You are telling them that your value is not tied to their approval or understanding. Your self-worth does not hinge on their validation. You don't need to be heard in order to feel whole. You don't need to win an argument to prove that you are right. The quietness of your departure speaks volumes about your confidence, your grace, and your ability to rise above petty conflicts. Actions always speak louder than words. When you choose not to engage in the back and forth, you're showing that your peace is more valuable than the temporary satisfaction of having the last word. You're not abandoning the situation because you're weak or because you can't handle the pressure. Instead, you are choosing a higher path. You are saying, I don't need to defend myself because my actions and my life will reflect the truth. This kind of response takes maturity and faith. It shows that you trust God to handle the situation in His own time and His own way. By leaving quietly, you place your confidence in Him rather than in your ability to argue or explain. Your silence is not an absence of words, it is a declaration that you know who you are, and nothing they say or think will change that. Letting your actions speak allows you to rise above the noise and remain grounded in your purpose and your worth. When you prioritize your peace, you are making a choice to protect what is sacred to you, your mind, your spirit, and your emotional well-being. Negative situations and toxic relationships often have a way of draining us, pulling us into cycles of conflict, stress, and frustration. But when you decide to walk away silently, you are choosing to guard the peace that God has placed within you. You are saying, my peace is too valuable to be sacrificed on the altar of someone else's drama. There is wisdom in recognizing that not every battle is worth fighting. Some conflicts are designed to disrupt your peace, to distract you from your purpose, and to pull you into a space where you are no longer focused on what truly matters. When you choose to remain silent and walk away, you are refusing to allow external chaos to disturb your inner calm. You are protecting your heart, mind, and spirit from unnecessary turmoil. Peace is one of the greatest gifts God gives us, and it is something we must actively protect. It's not about avoiding difficult conversations or pretending problems don't exist. It's about understanding that some people, some arguments, and some situations are simply not worth the loss of your peace. You have the power to choose where you invest your energy, and sometimes the best investment you can make is in preserving your own tranquility. Walking away silently means you trust that God will handle what you don't need to. You understand that not everything needs your response. Sometimes silence is the best response because it shows that your peace is untouchable. You're saying, I won't let this situation rob me of my joy, my focus, or my purpose in a world full of noise. Choosing silence to protect your peace is a mark of spiritual maturity and strength. When you prioritize your peace, you create room for God to work in your life without the distraction of unnecessary conflict. You can hear His voice more clearly, move in alignment with His will, and continue to grow without the weight of drama holding you back. Letting go of the need to respond, to argue, or to prove yourself allows you to maintain the inner calm that God has given you, and that is a priceless treasure. When Jesus stood before His accusers, He chose silence. He didn't respond to their false accusations or their insults. He didn't defend Himself, though He had every right to. Instead, He remained quiet, trusting that God's plan was bigger than the immediate circumstances. This act of silence was not a sign of weakness or defeat. It was a profound display of strength, wisdom, and faith. Jesus understood that not every situation requires a response, and not every accusation demands a defense. In following Jesus' example, you learn that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remain silent. When you are misunderstood, misjudged, or falsely accused, there is a tendency to want to fight back, to explain yourself, or to set the record straight. But in those moments, silence can be your greatest ally. By choosing not to engage in the argument or defend yourself against every criticism, you are displaying a deep trust in God. You are saying, I don't need to fight this battle because I know God is fighting it for me. Jesus' silence wasn't passive, it was purposeful. He knew his identity, he knew his mission, and he trusted his Father's plan. He didn't need to prove anything to his accusers because he was secure in who he was. In the same way, when you choose silence, you are showing that you are secure in your identity in God. You don't need to explain yourself to those who don't understand you. You don't need to argue with those who refuse to see the truth. You trust that God sees, God knows, and God will handle the situation. Silence in the face of accusation also requires tremendous faith. It's about releasing control and letting God take charge of the outcome. It's acknowledging that no matter what others say, God has the final word over your life. This kind of faith is not easy, but it's powerful. It's rooted in the belief that God is your defender and he will vindicate you in his own time. When you choose to leave them silently, you're following Jesus' example. You're saying, I trust that God's plan is greater than this moment, and I refuse to let temporary battles distract me from my eternal purpose. Your silence is an act of strength, a demonstration of your faith, and a powerful testimony to the peace and confidence that comes from trusting in God's perfect will. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. There are people who will come into your journey for a season, and there are those who are meant to stay. But part of maturity is learning to discern the difference and having the strength to walk away from those who no longer contribute to your growth. When you choose to leave them silently, you're recognizing that not everyone is meant to go where God is taking you. Some relationships are built on convenience or familiarity, not on purpose. They may have served you for a time, but as you grow, evolve, and step into the fullness of who God has called you to be, you will find that certain people no longer fit. It's not about animosity or bitterness. It's simply understanding that the path God has set for you is unique, and not everyone can walk it with you. Leaving silently is a sign that you understand the value of your purpose and the significance of your journey. You are not obligated to hold on to relationships that are holding you back or draining your energy. Some people in your life may not understand your vision, your goals, or the calling God has placed on you. They may criticize or try to diminish your dreams. When this happens, it's essential to recognize that their inability to see your potential does not define your destiny. By leaving them silently, you are choosing to protect your purpose. You are making space for the people who are meant to support you, encourage you, and walk alongside you in your God-given assignment. The voices of those who don't believe in you or don't align with your vision should not have influence over your life. Silence in this case speaks volumes. It shows that you are confident in the path God has laid out for you and that you are not willing to compromise that path for the sake of staying connected to people who don't belong on your journey. This is a principle Jesus understood well. Throughout his ministry, he was selective about the people he allowed to be close to him. He surrounded himself with those who supported his mission, and when necessary, he distanced himself from those who sought to derail it. You too must be wise about who you allow into your inner circle. Not everyone can handle the weight of your calling. In walking away quietly, you demonstrate wisdom and discernment. You're acknowledging that God's plan for your life is too important to be sidetracked by individuals who don't understand or appreciate it. You're leaving space for God to bring the right people into your life, those who will uplift you, challenge you to grow, and help you fulfill your purpose. Silence in this context is an act of self-respect and a declaration that you're choosing to align yourself with God's will above all else. Some relationships are only meant to be temporary, and understanding this can save you from unnecessary heartache and frustration. There are people who come into your life for a specific reason or season, but they are not meant to stay forever. Trying to hold on to relationships that have reached their natural end will only hinder your progress and block the greater things God has in store for you. When you leave them silently, you are acknowledging that their time in your life has passed and that it's time to move forward. Seasons change, and so do the people who are meant to walk with you. Some individuals were only meant to help you through a particular stage of your journey. By choosing to walk away quietly, you are aligning yourself with the divine protection and honor that God promises His children. It's a way of saying, I trust that God will handle the situation and will lift me out of any circumstance that seeks to degrade me. You are confident that God will not allow you to be humiliated indefinitely. He will use the situation to build you up, to strengthen your character, and to bring you into a place of respect and honor. This decision also reflects a deep trust in God's timing and justice. When you leave silently, you are choosing to let God be your advocate and defender. You are acknowledging that His ways are higher than yours, and He will bring about the resolution and vindication that you need. You don't have to fight for your dignity or seek revenge. God is already at work to ensure that you are honored and respected. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. Despite being betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and wrongfully imprisoned, Joseph did not seek to vindicate himself through loud protests or acts of retaliation. Instead, he trusted God throughout his trials. In the end, God elevated Joseph to a position of great honor and authority, proving that God indeed does not allow His people to remain in a state of humiliation forever. In your own life, when you face situations where you could be tempted to engage in a battle of words or to fight for your honor, choosing silence is a declaration of your faith in God's ability to restore and uplift you. It is a testament to your belief that God will not leave you in a place of shame, but will guide you to a place of honor and success. By walking away silently, you are preserving your dignity and trusting that God's plans for you include lifting you beyond the reach of humiliation. Choosing to leave silently allows you to focus on your own path and purpose without being distracted by the negativity of others. It's an intentional act of self-care and self-preservation, enabling you to remain focused on what God has called you to do. When you remove yourself from toxic situations or relationships and do so quietly, you're making a statement that your own spiritual and personal growth are priorities. You're deciding not to let the noise of negativity or conflict divert your attention from your true mission. Focusing on your path means understanding that your journey is unique and divinely orchestrated. God has a specific purpose and plan for your life, and it's essential to remain committed to that path despite the challenges or distractions you might face. By leaving quietly, you are choosing to honor your purpose and avoid the pitfalls of engaging in conflicts that don't contribute to your growth or destiny. You're demonstrating a maturity that comes from knowing that not every battle is worth fighting, and that some situations are best left behind to keep moving forward. This decision also means you're choosing to guard your peace and energy. Engaging in arguments or trying to prove yourself to others can be draining and counterproductive. When you walk away silently, you conserve your emotional and mental resources for pursuits that truly matter to your growth and calling. This allows you to channel your efforts into areas where you can make a positive impact, grow spiritually, and achieve your goals. Consider the example of Jesus, who, when faced with criticism and opposition, often chose silence or withdrew from the situation. His focus was always on fulfilling His divine mission, and He did not allow the negativity of others to divert Him from His purpose. This kind of focus is essential for anyone who wants to achieve greatness and live out their God-given potential. In your own life, leaving silently is a way of staying true to your mission and purpose. It shows that you are committed to pursuing the calling God has placed on your life, and you are not willing to let external conflicts or misunderstandings derail you. Your silence is a form of strength and a declaration that you are focused on what truly matters, fulfilling your divine purpose and moving forward in faith and confidence. Ultimately, choosing to leave silently is a recognition that your journey is precious and that you have a responsibility to protect it. By focusing on your path and purpose, you honor the unique role God has given you and avoid getting bogged down by unnecessary distractions. This focus allows you to continue progressing toward your goals and making the impact you were meant to make, all while maintaining your peace and integrity. In conclusion, leaving silently is a profound expression of spiritual maturity and trust in God's plan for your life. It is not about abandoning your values or running away from challenges, but rather about choosing to preserve your peace, dignity, and focus on the path that God has set before you. By walking away quietly, you demonstrate a deep understanding of your worth and a commitment to your purpose. It is an act of faith, showing that you trust God to handle the situations and relationships that no longer serve your growth. This approach allows you to move forward with grace and strength, free from the distractions of conflict and negativity. It affirms that your journey is unique and sacred, deserving of respect and careful navigation. By releasing what no longer aligns with your purpose and trusting God to handle the rest, you position yourself to receive His blessings and guidance. Your silence becomes a testament to your confidence in His plan, your dedication to your own growth, and your commitment to living out your divine calling. As you embrace this practice of leaving silently, remember that it is a powerful tool for maintaining your integrity, protecting your peace, and honoring your journey. It reflects a profound trust in God's timing and justice, and it empowers you to focus on what truly matters, fulfilling your purpose and continuing to grow in the direction He has set for you. Your silence speaks volumes about your strength, faith, and dedication to living a life aligned with His will.